My boyfriend proposed to me, but I don't love him anymore.
Time to get out of there.
My boyfriend and I have been together for a very long time. We dated from the time we were 16 to 22.
Dang.
We then broke up for a while, but got back together when we were 25. Now we're both 29. Next year we'll be 30. 10 years after that, you'll be 40. By the way, this comes from user I Just Like to Bake. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/okstorytime subreddit. So we live together, and I know he's going to ask me to marry him soon. So I want to get my feelings in order before anything happens. I love him, I really do, but I feel sort of unloved. I know once couples become comfortable with each other and live together, the spark or whatever, but I don't like feeling like this. I still make an effort. I ask him how his day went. I'm affectionate. I put out, so to speak. A thing that really bothers me is when I say something, a lot of the time he ignores me. When I bring it up, he says that he didn't hear me or that he was busy. For example, I'll say, "Did you see there's going to be a strike tomorrow?" And I won't get a reply. I'll wait 10 seconds, still no reply. Then I'll ask, "Hello, did you hear what I said?" And he'll go, or grunt in response. He does this often. Just abrupt responses after ignoring me and having to repeat myself. I'd understand if he did this if I was talking his ear off, but I'm not even a talkative person. Yet when he talks about anything, I pay attention and respond properly and validate his opinions and reassure him when he needs me to. Affection-wise, I always give him hugs and kisses. He hardly ever does this anymore without me asking. I compliment him and tell him that he looks handsome, and he hasn't complimented me in any shape or form in probably over a year now that I think about it. I still look the same looks-wise. I haven't gained weight or anything. Not that that's a reason to stop loving someone, but you know how some people are. So I don't know what changed. If things just become stale, is this what inevitably happens? This whole situation has been troubling me for a while, but I'm not sure what to do. Our anniversary is in 2 months' time, and his sister accidentally let it slip that he's going to propose. If it weren't for that, I'd think that we've been together for too long, and he's now sick of me. I tried talking to a few of my friends who are already married, and all I got were varied versions of "that's how men are." He wasn't like this before. He would pay attention to me and talk to me, and overall, I just felt more liked, you know? Now it just kind of feels one-sided. The one time I attempted to kind of bring it up, I opened with, "Do you still like me? Because sometimes it doesn't really feel like it." And he replied with, "If I didn't like you, why would I be here?" I could tell it was going to end up in an argument, so I just let it go after that. No, I don't think that's necessarily the thing we should have done there. I think we should have kept going.
Yeah. Maybe express why you like OP.
Because honestly, that rocks in my brain's response. Just, well, man here, how could man no like?
Yeah.
If man here.
Yeah.
Well, it's like, well, you just don't seem to be acting
Exactly.
like how we used to act with each other.
Exactly.
You opened the door, but then you got scared of what was behind it. You gotta open it all the way, or you're gonna be stuck in the same place you're at.
Yep.
How do I handle this situation? Do what I just said. I want to bring it up with him, but I don't know how to do it. I guess I'm not really good at articulating how I feel. Or should I not say anything because this is just the way relationships go? Are there people who really think like that, dude? I'm sorry, that drives me insane.
Yeah, I guess so.
Or should I just, accept this is the way things are because that's how they are and they'll never change? What?
No, you don't need to do that.
That's not how literally anything on earth is.
Yeah.
None of it. Ever. Except, don't tell pregnant women they're fat. That's, the one thing that you'll just never do that.
Right.
That's the way that is. You never, ever do that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, we got some comments here. Let's get into them. A comment from a deleted user says, "You can't have an honest conversation about this without it turning into an argument. Am I correct in guessing that this is a pattern and whenever he doesn't want to discuss something difficult, you know it'll turn into an argument, so you just drop it? If so, my partner just proposed to me less than a week ago, and I can promise you that your friends are just in unfulfilling relationships. I call my fiance a literal angel every chance I get because he is. Your dude feels comfortable and doesn't feel the need to put in any effort anymore. Could be because he's just going through the motions and he isn't really that into the relationship anymore. It could be because he doesn't feel like once you get to a certain point in a relationship, effort flies out the window. Neither scenario is good or how things should be. I think it's worth trying to speak with him again about it, but definitely don't commit to marrying this dude before you have an honest conversation about this." OP says, "Whenever I try to talk about feelings or things we need to work on in our relationship, no matter how carefully I choose my words, he'll take it as an attack and turn it into an argument or just shut down completely and refuse to talk. Congratulations on your proposal. I think my situation is definitely a no more effort sort of thing. I know I have to talk to him now. I guess I'm just scared and nervous about the outcome, which is fair. That's why most people don't talk, is because they're afraid of what's going to happen.
Yep.
Androidus for life says, my ex, who I did become engaged to, was just like this. Completely uninterested in me, unaffectionate, and not plugged into what was happening in my life. Some men are like this, but not you. And that's fine. My current partner, it's like chalk and cheese. I got all the things I was told I was asking too much for before. We will snuggle and cuddle all night, hold hands while watching TV, cook together, and chat and laugh and be silly. OP says, yes, that's exactly my situation, but he wasn't like this before. He was sweet and affectionate and interested. I don't know how I got to this point. Maybe it happened so gradually that I didn't notice until it was completely changed. I'm so happy you found an amazing partner like that. And we have an update.
Okay.
Be like, hey, this is not working for me. I feel like you don't like me.
Yeah.
And like, we got to work through that.
Yeah, I do agree with that one comment that was like, hey, so why is like this little problem, gonna make it an argument? And like what you were saying, like, yeah, confrontation makes people uncomfortable, and that's probably why. But if you're considering marriage with someone, you want to be able to communicate like clearly and openly and not have it turn into an argument before you get married.
If you're like, any talk about feelings is literally impossible.
Yeah. That's
not ready for marriage.
It's important to have.
Yeah.
Before you spend the rest of your life with someone.
Update. I thought I'd provide an update. Thank you all for the advice. So the day after I posted here, I talked to him. I told him that I feel a bit disconnected and I'd like it if he paid more attention to me and talked to me a little more. He just said, okay, but I could tell that he wasn't interested. The next day, there was no change, and I was a bit annoyed, so I spoke to him again. I said that I'm starting to feel lonely in the relationship, and I feel like he ignores me and isn't affectionate like he used to be before. But all he said was that he didn't want to talk about it. I said that it was important and that I might want to end things if we can't talk about this. Only then did he start to pay attention. He said that he ignores me because he's tired. I understand that working is tiring, but he practically ignores me all the time. And as far as the affection and attention, he said, I don't know, things just change, Ha! I explained that I understood all of that, but I needed more. And that maybe it was unreasonable for me to want that, and maybe the type of relationship I want doesn't exist. But I would not be happy in this relationship if things stayed this way. He then said he'd try more, that he'd hug me every morning before work and try to respond more when I spoke. He also said he'd give me a compliment now and then. I didn't like how it felt like a list of chores he had to do, but at least he was willing to try, so I agreed. I also asked if there was anything I could work on for him, but he said there was nothing he could think of, because he's thoughtless. By the end of this first week, he already seemed annoyed with the hugging. He'd let out a big sigh, and it seemed like he was doing it begrudgingly. This felt awful for me, like I'm forcing this man to give me a crumb of affection, but at least he was doing it, I guessed. Girl, you could leave!
No.
You could have left.
Oh my gosh.
I swear to God, I would have been gone at the first. He gives me a hug, and he goes,
yeah.
I'm gone. It's over.
Done. Get out of there.
My breaking point happened last weekend when we were getting ready to go to a party. It was his friend's party, and it was a fancy affair, so I had to get really dressed up. His niece and her boyfriend were also going, but came to our place because she needed help with her hair. She has gorgeous butt-length hair and wanted to curl it. As soon as her boyfriend saw her after getting ready, he said, wow, you look so beautiful. You look like a mermaid. And he hugged her. No prompting, no asking. He just did it. That's when my boyfriend called me aside and said, I guess I have to compliment you now, right? And that was it for me. I'm glad you had a moment that finally made you go, I can see clearly now.
Yeah.
This cannot work. I said I was feeling sick and I needed to go to the bathroom. We were all supposed to leave together, but I stalled for a few minutes and told them I was sorry, they should leave, and if and when I felt better, we'd meet them there. As soon as they left, I spoke to him. I said, I'm sorry I wasted his time, and I was so sorry that I didn't notice all of this sooner. I said that I appreciate his effort, and even though he was doing what I asked, it was not enough for me. I don't want to feel like a chore to somebody. I understand that the honeymoon period or puppy love thing doesn't last forever, but I want someone to like me, to like me naturally and instinctively as a person. After explaining that, I told him that I was sorry again and that I was ending things. He started freaking out and told me to think about it some more, but I was sure of my choice. Buddy, she's been thinking about it for a long time. He then said that he understands and he's sorry and asked if I would still go with him to the party as our last night out, which is an insane thing to ask. An absolutely unhinged, where is your brain question.
Oh my gosh.
He also said it was because he was going to be embarrassed to go alone. Again, selfish.
Yeah.
I felt bad because I didn't mean to do this on the day that we were going to this party and didn't want to leave him hanging, so I agreed.
Oh, OP.
Well, the lessons
Too
we learned.
nice.
Yeah, way too nice.
Yeah.
OP. I didn't want to, but I went and we managed to keep up appearances. Then, in the middle of dinner, he proposed?
Oh my goodness. Where is his brain? Can he hear you? You just said that you wanted to break up and he thinks, oh, what a great time to get married.
I really hope that this does not go the way I'm hoping it doesn't go.
I have a feeling. I have a feeling, Dakota.
No.
I have a feeling.
Okay. I was shocked. I didn't know what to do and felt trapped. I didn't want to embarrass him or myself, so I said yes.
Yep.
Everybody was congratulating us, and I was in the lake of fire. It all felt so awful, and it was difficult to not start crying out of frustration. In addition to us technically being broken up, he knows I hate being the center of attention in public like that. And by the way, I want you to center your attention on the fact that you can listen to full episodes with stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, really wherever you listen to podcasts. All you have to do is search OK Storytime. Boom, it's that simple.
Do it.
Man. And don't ever agree to a proposal because you don't want to embarrass the guy you broke up with an hour ago.
Yeah, no. If he knows that you don't want to be the center of attention and he just got broken up with, I wonder if he's doing this on purpose to embarrass you. So you gotta do it back. Just embarrass him. No.
Yeah.
No.
I think, clearly the right move was not made here.
Yeah.
But I don't know if this is the right move. The move I'm making is I'm making a scene.
Yeah.
I'm now making a scene. But, OP doesn't like being the center of attention, doesn't like making a scene. But,
Exactly.
this is the risk you run of being someone incapable of making a scene. You accept a proposal from a guy you just broke up with because you cannot say no.
Yeah.
So watch yourself. When we got home, I asked how he could do such a thing. How could he put me in such a terrible position? He said, I thought maybe proposing would change your mind. Rocks in his brain. I said that it didn't, and I just said yes because it would have been awkward if I hadn't. I gave him the ring back, packed some of my stuff, and left. He was freaking out, asking me what he was going to tell everyone. But I told him to say whatever he wants. That I changed my mind, that I'm flaky, whatever. I was emotionally exhausted and didn't care anymore. I feel awful and wish I could have handled that whole situation better or smarter, but I panicked, and now we're here. Everyone is probably going to think but I honestly didn't know what to do. Anyway, things are over now, and I'm staying with my sister until I gather my bearings. He's been texting me, trying to convince me to reconsider. Honestly, I feel a little lost, because he's the only boyfriend I've ever had, and he was such a big part of my life, but I know I made the right choice. Thank God you know that, because a lot of people, they only have one boyfriend, they don't know.
They don't know.
You can have a second one.
It's possible.
We have some comments to finish this story off. Ketsukatsuri. My jaw dropped and my hand clapped over my mouth when I read that he proposed. The effing audacity. He did it to manipulate you. What am I going to tell them? Like, dude, you made this mess. F around and find out. I'm so glad you didn't actually follow through with staying with him after saying yes. I'm so proud of you for leaving. OP says, I didn't want to say yes, but there were so many people there. It was a very big party in a fancy hall, and everyone was looking at me expectantly. To be honest, I didn't even speak when he proposed. I froze for what seemed like ages and eventually just nodded. Thank you. Raz Moon says, wow, huge bullet dodge. I can't believe that he pulled that stunt. I initially thought that you would feign sickness and urge the other three to go without you. Oh well. If there are any people that matter to you within the friend group, tell them what happened. I, for one, think you did the right thing by moving out. Just bring someone with you when you get your things quicker and safer. See if you can do it when you know that he won't be there. OP replies, I initially wanted to tell the three of them to go without me, but he would have got mad at me, and it would have been a fight, so I ended up doing this instead. I'm actually stalling getting my stuff because I'm dreading it. Send someone else to get your stuff then. Would your sister do it, or at least accompany you? And shut down any and all conversation between the two of you. I was in a similar situation to you when I had a breakup, but I refused to be home when my boyfriend picked up his stuff. And he took his time picking his things up and hoping to see me again. Eventually, I made a list and said, pick it up by X date or this is all trashed. OP says, my sister wanted to go the very next day and fetch my stuff, but it was a Sunday and I knew he'd be home the whole day, so I avoided it. My sister is the opposite of me. Very confrontational, you see, so I don't really want to go with her. She suggested that her husband accompany me this weekend, so I guess I'll do that. And that is the end of that story. And people, folks, anyone out there who's non-confrontational to a fault, please work on it.
Yeah, please.
We don't need to be like rude, loudmouth jerks to everyone in our lives.
Yeah.
But we need to be able to stand on our principles.
Yeah.
Like when push comes to shove.
I helped my friend get a job. Now I regret speaking to him again.
No contact. No contact.
And this is direct from the r/OKstorytime subreddit.
All right.
So, I am 25 female and have been best friends with 30 male for about 4 years now. We met at work when I first started and very quickly got close within a mutual group of friends. By the way, this comes from No Name Central, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKstorytime subreddit. So, after about 4 months, I left for a better job, but we kept each other on socials and had still stayed within the friend group. One day, randomly, we bonded heavily over video games until ultimately we made a group chat with one of the other friends and started playing a shooters game pretty regularly on a group call. It became a sort of routine without really meaning to. Then one night, the mutual friend wasn't available to play, so we hopped on a call, just the two of us, and bonded even deeper from there. From then on, the snap streak got longer and calls were going into 3 a.m. until, well, you can probably see where this is going. Feelings were admitted, as well as a mutual attraction. We, from then on, quickly became inseparable until the phone call turned into in-person meetups and all-day hangouts. Again, you can see where this is going. I'm seeing it. Well, for some more context, now 30 male is a single father of 2 beautiful boys. And at the time all of this started, one was around 2 while the other was a newborn. I know that sounds crazy, but that's his story to tell of why he wasn't with the baby's mama anymore, not mine. But anyway, within that time of this happening, I stuck around for about a full year helping raise them. Oh, wow.
Wow.
Okay. I was there for a lot of the youngest sons first to watching the oldest develop his own little personality. Within that year, though, we, from how I see everything, actually genuinely fell in love. Well, at least on my side of things. I was head over heels for the dude. Now, if you've read this far, you probably are wondering where the but comes in. And here it is. He, with both past relationships of his sons, has been extremely traumatized and hurt from them both in many different ways, from cheating to gaslighting to trust issues, etc. Not to mention finding out you're gotta not only be a father of 2, but a single one at that, as soon as he got comfortable with the idea of it all, which I completely understand. I mean, who wouldn't go through that and not come out hesitant to start anything new with anyone, regardless of how you might feel about them? As the months went on, though, and the more we talked, the more it was obvious our feelings got deeper, even to the point where the word love got involved. However, during this time, friends of both of ours kept asking what was going to happen between us. How deep exactly did all of this go? Well, yes, I know that's not really any of their business, only ours, as long as we communicate about it between us. At least that's all that matters. Here's the thing. There was no communication about the situation between us either. It was very evident about how I felt and what I wanted. However, I started to get the vibe that everything between us was more physical than anything. The longer this went on, the more painful it got. Well, one day it felt like he stepped back for like a week and we barely talked. And when he did finally come back, I find out he was taking a chance at trying to get back with his youngest son's mom in an attempt to get his family back.
Oh no.
Ouch.
While he's dating OP?
I don't think they were ever like officially dating, but like she's been helping for the past year with his kids. And clearly like a physical relationship is happening. Yeah.
Oh,
ouch.
Man.
That's pretty sucky.
Yeah.
Hearing that was, I can't lie, soul crushing. Not because I couldn't respect it, but because he didn't say anything. So at this point, I realized very clearly what I wanted. He wasn't going to give it to me. Not even really that he didn't want to, but that he couldn't. He needed the time to heal and grow as a person. And in many ways, I did too. So maybe this was wrong of me, but I took a step back and started moving on from him and this whole drawn-out situationship. During the step back, I started talking to someone else and really put distance between us until about a week later, he starts to reach out more and seems as though he really wanted to be official. However, he's too late. The distance was not only addressed and realized, it quickly became evident that it was needed. A few days turned into a month, then turned into longer when me and the other guy I had started talking to started officially dating. Still, my now current boyfriend actually, and before you ask, yes, he knows about my past with his friend as well as this entire situation this post is about. Fast forward to about 3 years later and getting to the actual title of this story. We haven't really had any communication except for some small talks on Instagram. Nothing too crazy other than him also getting into a relationship and me graduating college. So, light talks of how life was going and how his boys were doing. Well, a mutual friend of ours and I started to hang out, and he ends up inviting us both to a housewarming party. This is complicated.
Yeah.
Also, I'm realizing that I think OP was really young when she was helping take care of these kids.
Oh, you
Because I think she's 25 now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He's 30. She's 25 now. So she was probably
Gotcha.
2021
Wow.
when she was helping take care of these kids.
Did we get like how long they've been
I think,
talking to each other?
yeah, it said 4 years.
Oh, wow. That is young to be
Yeah.
dealing with all this.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
Yeah. And then for him to like totally kind of
Yeah. and
not
just-
even give her the respect of saying, hey, I can't be in this relationship with
Right.
you. And then, but like just immediately going back to his
Yeah.
without talking.
Oh, man.
Yeah. Well, a mutual friend of ours and I start to hang out, and he ends up inviting us both to a housewarming party. So we made a plan to actually meet up to go, since said mutual friend asked me to pick him up and bring him. And I said yes. Again, all with my boyfriend's knowledge and awareness. We from there exchanged numbers, and he tells me about how he needs a job and was considering and wondering if I could help him out with getting a job where I work. So I have a conversation with my boyfriend first, make sure it's okay with him, then my boss. He gets an interview, does well, and officially gets hired on. This is the friend?
Yeah, this is the like ex situationship.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. He gets introduced to my friend group at work and gets accepted in with open arms and a warm welcome. Well, after a while, it feels as though I have my best friend back from him. Everything is going smoothly until we have a small disagreement over something at work, aka him showing up an hour and a half late. Also, because I forgot to add this, I'm his boss within the store. I then set a clear boundary of, while yes, I am his best friend outside of the workplace, I am still his boss within it. And he has to realize not only do I have a right to be mad at him for being late, I'm not attacking him by doing so and calling him out for it. He says he understands, and I thought we moved on from there. Well, this being late thing proceeds to happen 4 more times. Not great for OP when she's the one who recommended him, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely. That
Yeah.
definitely is going to look bad on her part.
Yeah, he's like not showing up on time.
Yeah.
Not cool. With a lame excuse or just straight out not waking up on time because he didn't get to sleep the night before. Something I forgot to add, he doesn't have a car, so I was picking him up for work and driving him home. The days he was late, we were supposed to be there at the same time, but he overslept and didn't answer the phone, so I went without him. Those times he was late with an excuse, it was always about his girlfriend and her car not working correctly or her not wanting to get up to take him. The next thing that happens is I would give him slight instructions on how to stack the truck on a cart more organized. So I restacked the cart to make it easier on him. He suddenly shuts down and stops talking to all of us because I guess he didn't think it would matter because he was doing that cart specifically, and he felt as though I overstepped him and didn't let him explain. I only learned this because the whole going radio silent on everyone to where they're asking me what's wrong since I'm supposed to be his best friend thing kept up until I specifically made a point to stop him and force him to tell me what's wrong, where he then, after, tries to say, no, it's fine, it doesn't even matter. I apologize and explain I wasn't making it more difficult, but trying to help him out in the long run. And then he suddenly goes back to acting as if none of it happens. He's acting very unprofessional.
Yeah, he really is.
Yeah, he's like pouting and,
Right.
ignoring everyone. And you're at work, dude.
Yeah.
Situations like this keep reoccurring where I'd have to go out of my way to cater to his emotions to get him to talk to me. So he'd stop what I feel is a temper tantrum. Eventually, not only does the group of us coworkers and friends get highly annoyed, but I no longer find the energy or want to do so. But I also got a second job as a night job so that I could move out. So my time quickly becomes limited and important to me. The more that this happened, the more distance I started putting in between us because I no longer truthfully at this point cared to cater to his emotions and wanted him to grow up and learn some discipline. One morning, I start driving to work and realize I got a text from him, so I check it. And he asked if I was coming to get him. But at this point, he had hinted at the fact he expected me to text him to see if he was riding with me. I got frustrated because after the whole being late several times thing happened, he'd get a ride with his girlfriend or Uber without telling me, and I'd find out when I got there. So I'd always just wait for him to ask me for a ride when he needed it. Yeah, if you're like showing up at his house and he's like, oh, I'm already left.
Yeah,
I'm already gone. Like, that's so rude.
I'm sure there was some sort of communication where OP would expect to pick him up. And
yeah,
if that's the case, then he should communicate back that he doesn't need it. That's so
rude. Literally. Or just say, hey, today I need it. Just communicate.
Communicate, please.
So I got frustrated and expressed that to him. And he said he understood this and that it was not my responsibility to get to work, but his own. From that point on, I honestly haven't picked him up for work and barely drove him home, especially with trying to balance 2 jobs and get some downtime in between. Well, now, skip to about a week ago, there was another situation where he had miscommunicated what was being said to him on how to write down the numbers needed to insert for our backstock to go into our automatic ordering system. Numbers that we need with certain names so we know what's what and how to enter them. Well, me and my other friend took the time to explain it and the names because the way he was writing it down didn't make sense or give us the actual numbers needed. During that conversation, I could tell he shut down and stopped listening and instead was just nodding his head. So I just walked away and left it at that and made a note to go back to it after break. I did just that. He then proceeded to tell me he stopped listening because he felt attacked, basically. So I explained we weren't attacking him, but we need those numbers with those names. He just doesn't want to do his work.
Yeah,
he's just like, why are you bullying me? She's like, I'm literally just asking you for some numbers.
Yeah, he's taking everything so insanely personally and negatively.
Yeah. He explains that the names didn't make sense to him. Which, okay, I can get that, but we didn't come up with the categories, and that's how we learned to use them. So I explained that, to which he explains he had to write down an example. I already did that before I walked away the first time. So I just left it at that and kept it pushing. Here's the thing. I'm not the only one who's picked up on this whole situation. Our little department team as a whole knows and feels the same way I do. They've seen me have to force him to talk to me about when he feels as though we attacked him or misunderstood something. And simply put, they're over it, as am I. There's other things in there too that add to it, like him only being on one cart his whole shift, going to the bathroom for 45 minutes a few times a shift.
A few times?
A few times a shift?
That's crazy.
Dude. Or arguing back and forth with his girlfriend for hours texting, to just outright not being willing to pick up any extra hours or staying later and getting mad about still being there, as if we're not all staying late as a whole, to take the 45-minute bathroom break at the end of the shift, then clocking out, to just not really showing up or helping out when needed or when it was expected from our bosses themselves. So here's the part where I may be the a-hole. I, 25 female, want to completely cut him off at this point. I'm talking about how we have no communication outside of this job at all, basically already there, and tell our bosses how I really feel about the situation. Not to technically get him fired, but to get a solution to the problem because I'm quite frankly over catering to the emotions of someone that's more grown than me. But I know they're not going to take a kind approach about it the same way I have and do. And to be frank, he really needs this job. Then he should act like it.
Yeah.
Sorry, if he really needs this job, then he should actually work. If he loses the job, that's not your fault.
Yeah, you can't just give a job to someone who needs it if they're just gonna
be bad at it. Yeah.
They have to give you a reason to pay them.
Yeah. And yes, I know that's not my problem to figure out, and I do feel as though I've been nice about it. I do actually still really care for the guy on a platonic level. He was and still is supposed to be my best friend. Not to mention his boys are like my boys, and we do have so many memories and mutual friends together, including the coworker friend group. By the way, we've got mutual friends. When you listen to full episodes, stories just like this, just go to Spotify, Apple Podcast, or iHeartRadio and search up Storytime. There is a little bit left to the story, but do you have any final thoughts?
OP is really giving him a lot of grace, and I think because
so
of
much
like
grace.
The history that they have, but it's a business. Business isn't personal, especially since you're the boss.
I was about to say, if you are in a position of power with him, like you definitely have, they're going to hold you a little bit more culpable than anyone else around.
Yeah, absolutely. And then your other employees might look at it and feel that it's unfair that you're putting up with all of this just because you guys are friends, because everyone else knows that.
Absolutely. It's
So-
like the nepotism kind of thing, but
Yeah.
you know,
So
friends.
you just gotta let him go. let him go.
Or, well, I don't know if OP has the power to fire him per se, but like, I mean, you could have a last conversation with him before you go to your superiors
Sure,
and
that'd
say
probably
like,
be good.
hey, you need to step up. Don't give me the silent treatment. Don't, pout about this.
Mm-hmm.
These are the things I've noticed. I am your boss. I love being your friend outside of this.
Yep.
I have a responsibility to tell my bosses that I've noticed this behavior.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see that change, but this is a warning.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But there is a little bit left to this story. Also, me and that same coworker friend group have talked it over, and basically they want me to sit them down and explain everything in detail, including how both I and them feel about everything, as well as my bosses, and give them an ultimatum and maybe much needed reality check of like, yo, I'm not attacking you, but if you're not going to wake up and grow as a person, you're not only going to lose your job, but me as well. With that part being said, I have since texted him, letting him know we need to not only have a conversation, but one in person where he can't walk away from or leave me on red. And we have a plan to do so tomorrow when we get off work the day I'm actually writing this, which is what brings me to actually writing this post, to not only know if I'm the a-hole here at all, but to get advice on what to say and how to say it when we do have this conversation. But that's the end of that story.